Israel-Gaza violence. Senior Hamas commander killed in airstrike. The latest missile to hit Gaza saw the collapse of a 13-story office building where Israel claims Hamas militants were hiding. Hamas militants have announced one of their most senior leaders in Gaza has been killed in an airstrike amid the worst violence in the region since 2014. Gaza City Commander Wasim Issa is the highest ranking Hamas figure to be killed since the war there 7 years ago. Israel Security Services said he is one of the 16 key Hamas members to die in the fighting that began on Monday. Hundreds of missiles have been fired from both sides, one of the latest on Wednesday, resulting in the collapse of 13-story office block in Gaza City. Israel forces say they fired a series of warning shots an hour before the strike on the tower block, which they claim had Hamas intelligence officials inside to allow civilians to escape. It came after hundreds of rockets were fired from Gaza towards Tel Aviv and its suburbs on Tuesday. In Lod, around 10 miles from the city, a state of emergency was declared on Wednesday morning amid clashes between Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews. Towns and cities across the region where both communities live side by side have become violent in recent weeks in a culmination of months of tension. US President Joe Biden spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday. He said, "My expectation and hope is this will be closing down sooner than later, but Israel has a right to defend itself. So far, the violence which the UN says risks escalating towards a full-scale war has killed at least 65 people in Gaza." According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, the Palestinian death toll includes 16 children plus another 6 within Israel and 5 women. A further 65 has been wounded. 5 civilians have been confirmed dead in Israel and more than 200 have been injured. Russian media has reported a Hamas official saying it is willing to halt fighting on mutual basis. But Israeli Defense Forces Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Concrios has told Sky News that the missile fire is set to continue for now. The fast escalating violence is being condemned by international community, with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken vowing to send his most senior envoy to the region as soon as possible. UN Security Council officials were due to meet in New York to discuss the situation today. So what Israeli Defense Forces and Hamas have to say? Spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Concrios has told Sky News a rocket unit of Palestinian Islamic Jihad group has been hit. A commander of an anti-tank missile unit of Hamas killed, alongside senior operatives from the Hamas Military Intelligence Department, the commander of its Gaza City Brigade and Khan Yunis Brigade. The Israeli military claims that of around 1,000 Hamas rockets fired from Gaza, 850 landed in Israel or were intercepted, but 200 did not make it across the border and landed in Gaza. Hamas commanders have not responded to the allegations that some of its own rockets have been misfired and caused Palestinian deaths. They instead talked the honorable scene of bombarding the city of Tel Aviv, their specific target along with its international airport, describing it as the biggest achievement in the battle. A spokesperson Fawij Farmi said while the Israel occupation had decided to launch a new war against Gaza, the Palestinian resistance led by Al-Qassam brigades is determined to act in response and has the right to defend in the Palestinian people. Today we declare that the resistance will act in self-defense against any Israeli violation, crime or atrocity. We deem the bombing of Tel Aviv as the biggest achievement in this battle. In a spiral of violence which is escalating fast, there are developments on several fronts with 56 dead in Gaza, including 14 children, and 6 dead in Israel. At least 335 have been wounded. The collapse of a multiple tower blocks in Gaza, 5 civilians dead in Israel and more than 200 wounded. An Israeli soldier was killed in rocket attack according to the Israeli army. So what is happening elsewhere? As well as strikes in another alarming development, rioting and civil unrest has broken out overnight in several mixed Israeli cities. These are the cities within where Israeli Jews live alongside Israeli Arabs. In a number of towns including Es, Nazareth and Lod, Israel Arabs protested in support of Palestinians who are considered under international law to be occupied by Israel. The unrest which prompted a state of emergency to be declared in Lod to the east of Tel Aviv represents a new scheme and challenge for the Israeli government to contain. For Hamas, it plays the casting of themselves as the protesters of Palestinians. Hamas spokesperson Mr. Barham said Palestinians in street celebrations of bombing Tel Aviv across Palestinian is a clear declaration of victory and indicates their awareness of successful resistance operations in response to Israeli atrocities. Thank you.